The year was 2294. Earth was no longer ruled by nations, but by one desperate alliance called the Unified Earth Defense. Cities had become underground shelters. The sky, once blue, was now covered with defensive orbital grids. For decades, humanity had held off the relentless alien force known only as the Varn. But now, the shield were failing. Commander Elen Varis, the youngest tactical officer in Earth history, stood before what many consider myth. Kronos Unit Zero, the last remaining prototype of a time machine. It was humanity's final weapon, but not one built to destroy. It was built to warn. "We can't win this war by fighting," Elen whispered, staring at the curved-shelled machine. "But maybe we can stop it before it starts." The Kronos project had been terminated a century ago. Too dangerous, too unstable, and too morally gray. But in the hidden archive depth of Antarctica, Elen had found encrypted files, blueprints, logs, and one final command written by her grandfather, the original Kronos engineer. Protocol Omega. In the event of planetary collapse, send one back to rewrite the path. Everyone in the command council had said no. "You'll fracture causality. You'll erase us. You're playing God." But Elen knew the truth. If she did nothing, there would be no us left to erase. So she defied the council, stole the time core, and activated Kronos. As she prepared for temporal transit, Elen inserted a memory chip into her neural link. Not just military history, but personal memories. Her mother, her childhood, the night she watched an alien cruiser vaporize the Pacific Arc. She wanted to remember why she was going back. Time travel wasn't like stepping through a door. It was like falling into a memory that didn't belong to you. Shattered images, alternate timelines, half-formed futures. And Elen had one mission: arrive in the year 2144, the year the Varn first made contact. If I can intercept the Varn signal, maybe I can change our first response. Maybe we didn't have to choose war. With the machine fully powered, Kronos began its countdown. Elen gripped the activation lever. No more fighting the past. I'm going to rewrite it. There was no thunder, no flash, just silence and then birdsong. Elen opened her eyes to see a park. Children playing. Clean air. Blue sky. Her knees buckled. It worked. She staggered toward the city skyline, scanning the dates. 2144 confirmed. The first thing she had to do, find Dr. James Miles, the xenolinguist who would later become the first voice of humanity in the Varn negotiations. History said Miles failed to decode the message correctly, leading Earth to assume the worst. But Elen knew the truth. He had been silenced by the military for being too idealistic. She found Miles at the Pacific Interstellar Observatory, younger than she expected. Kind eyes, messy desk, coffee stains on everything. "Dr. Miles," she said, "I need you to trust me. The signal coming tomorrow, it's not hostile." He laughed nervously. "And how would you know that?" Elen leaned forward. "Because in my time, we responded with nukes. And in return, the sky fell." She showed him the memory chip. It projected fragments, burning cities, orbital destruction, and her own face in military briefings. Miles turned pale. "So you're from the future?" "I'm from a future that's already lost," she said. "But maybe yours doesn't have to be." Just as they began analyzing the first Varn signal together, a soft, rhythmic hum with complex mathematical tones. The room shook. Explosions. Military agents burst into the lab. "Dr. Miles, step away. That woman is a time war criminal." Someone had leaked Elen's presence. She turned to Miles. "Don't let them rewrite what we're about to find. Record the truth." He nodded and slipped the drive into his pocket. Elen was taken in chains, but she didn't resist. "Let them think they've stopped me," she whispered. But the message has already been heard. In a sealed military facility under Nevada, Commander Elen Varis sat handcuffed to a steel table. No windows, only a mirrored wall and silence. General Harlan, a man whose name she'd seen etched in war memorials, entered. "You're a paradox," he said coldly. "Your DNA matches no records. Your neural implants use tech we haven't even invented. And yet you expect us to believe you came to prevent a war. Elen stared at him. You think war is strength. I've lived through what that strength becomes. A graveyard. He leaned in. You're tampering with the timeline. That's treason against reality. Then reality needs a better lawyer. Dr. James Miles was decoding the Varn signal. With Elen's memory chip and insights, he saw what had always been missed. The signal wasn't a threat. It was an invitation, a test of trust. The tone sequences formed recursive patterns, mirroring human brainwave frequencies, a gesture of peace. He submitted his findings to the Global Contact Authority. They rejected it. Not actionable, they wrote. Signal too ambiguous. Continue preparation for defensive strike. Miles realized then, the war had never been about the message. It had always been about fear. And that fear was about to doom them all. The next morning, Earth's orbital cannons prepared to fire upon the unknown Varn vessel approaching Saturn's orbit. Miles raced to the Nevada facility. "Don't do this," he shouted at the gates. "She's telling the truth. The signal means peace." A familiar voice crackled in the intercom. "Dr. Miles, this is General Harlan. Go home. We'll protect Earth our way." But Elen was no longer in her cell. She had escaped. Using a subroutine buried in the Chronos implant, she stood at the Pacific Interstellar Relay, the very antenna that would broadcast Earth's response to Varn. All around her, soldiers stormed the site. She uploaded a new message, not a threat, not a warning, but a shared memory. Images of Earth's beauty, human laughter, children running, and her voice saying, "If you hear this, know that we're flawed, but not hopeless." She sent it seconds before the original war signal could transmit. The timeline shimmered. Reality didn't collapse. It shifted. The Varn ship paused. Its lights pulsed in the rhythm of Elen's shared signal. It responded not with weapons, but with echoes. A perfect mirror of her message, but layered in strange alien tones. A greeting. This time, Earth didn't fire. Elen awoke on a bench. Same city, same sky, but something felt altered. A news ticker ran. "Historic peace talks with Varn begin today." She ran to a terminal. Her name, no longer listed as war criminal. She was now Dr. Elen Varis, credited for co-developing the Temporal Ethics Accord. And then she saw a photo. Herself, standing beside an older Miles as co-founders of Earth's first contact diplomacy. "So this is the rewritten world," she whispered. "We didn't stop the Varn. We met them, but not everything had returned." She remembered a little girl, a sister, or maybe a daughter, someone who didn't exist here. Time had saved the planet, but rewritten personal histories. Elen stood quietly at the memorial of the original war that never happened. A plaque read, "In honor of those forgotten by time, so that peace could exist." And beneath it, engraved in her own handwriting, "Some victories are silent." In a quiet lab, Elen opened a sealed container, a chronomemory capsule. Inside was a memory chip from Timeline A, the one filled with war, death, and sacrifice. She could delete it, forget it, but she didn't. "Let this remain," she said softly, not as regret, but as reminder. She placed it on a shelf labeled, "History that no longer happened."